UC Regents plot to screw over students. Tuition hike secrets exposed. UC Regents face a divisive decision on tuition policy adjustments. On July 17th, during the third day of their meetings, the UC Board of Regents tackled a contentious issue: proposed modifications to the UC Tuition Stability Plan. Despite an hour of rigorous debate, no conclusive vote was taken. Originally sanctioned in 2021, this plan ensures a consistent tuition rate for incoming undergraduates for up to 6 years, while allowing for adjustments between different yearly groups. Additionally, it elevated the return-to-aid rate, the portion of tuition revenue allocated for financial aid, from 33% to 45%. The proposed alterations, however, sparked significant discussion. These included raising the annual tuition increase cap from 5% to 7%, reducing the return-to-aid rate for undergraduate fee hikes from 45% to 35%, and introducing an additional step increase on top of the yearly inflation-based adjustments to system-wide charges, as outlined in the discussion item. The discussion item argued that moderate and predictable adjustments in fees have been crucial for supporting UC activities and infrastructure. It highlighted that recent increases in operational costs have not been adequately covered by state funding or tuition revenues. But here's where it gets controversial. Several regents strongly opposed the proposed hike in the tuition cap. Lieutenant Government and ex officio Regent Eleni Kounalakis expressed her disapproval, emphasizing the substantial impact on students. It's a balancing act between affordability and campus funding, and I firmly stand on the side of affordability, echoed Regent Michael Cohen. Following the intense discussion, no vote was cast. Regents Chair Janet Riley advocated for seeking further input from stakeholders and postponing the vote until November. The existing tuition stability plan requires reauthorization before the 2027-28 academic year. The plan under discussion today unfairly burdens a generation of students already grappling with mounting obstacles to education, declared Layla Haidar, president of the Associated Students of UC Riverside, during the public comment session. We implore the regents to refrain from increasing the tuition cap, to avoid cutting return-to-aid, and to acknowledge that such a plan only exacerbates the financial strain on students. Other voices in the public comment segment included union members protesting layoffs at UC San Diego, a concern they had also raised during the previous day's board meeting. Do you think the proposed changes to the tuition stability plan are justified, or do they unfairly penalize students? Share your thoughts in the comments. UC Regents debate tepidly over tuition hike proposal. The University of California, UC, is facing a critical decision regarding its tuition policy, and the initial reaction from regents has been lukewarm and filled with questions. This is especially true as the university grapples with financial uncertainties stemming from federal cuts, state budget constraints, and rising inflation. On Thursday, as the regents began their debate on a proposal to raise tuition and allocate less of that revenue towards financial aid, the room was charged with skepticism and a demand for more detailed information. But here's where it gets controversial. Some regents openly opposed the idea, expressing concerns about the impact on lower and middle-income students, while others simply wanted more data before making a decision. The student leaders, who had a chance to speak during the public comment section, were unequivocally against the proposal. With the current tuition policy set to expire in about a year, the regents are scheduled to make a final decision in mid-November. However, the first public discussion revealed deep reservations about altering the existing tuition model, despite the acknowledgement that the university needs more funds to stay afloat. If it's not broken, why are we trying to fix it? This was the sentiment expressed by Regent Rich Leib during the meeting at UCLA, highlighting the tension between maintaining the status quo and addressing financial shortfalls. #understanding the current tuition model. The current challenge is to create a policy that ensures tuition stability for students, meaning they are shielded from ongoing increases during their college years, while still generating sufficient revenue to sustain the university during financially unstable times. In the summer of 2021, after years of debate and protests, UC implemented a tuition increase and a program that locks in rates for undergraduates based on the year they first enrolled. For example, Students from California who entered in the fall of 2022 pay an annual tuition of $13,104, the same rate they paid on their first day of class. However, those who started in subsequent years pay a higher amount, adjusted for inflation and increasing costs, which remains fixed for up to 6 years. This program, which dedicates 45% of tuition revenue to financial aid, has been credited with bringing budget predictability to families, helping maintain educational standards, and making a UC education more affordable for many low-income students. ####the proposed changes. As the 5-year tuition stability plan nears its expiration in the fall of 2026, the Regents must decide whether to discontinue, renew, or modify it. On Thursday, UC Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President Nathan Brostrom presented 3 potential changes. 1. Increase the annual tuition increase cap from 5% to 7%. This would allow for more flexibility in adjusting to rising costs. 2. Reduce the amount of fees allocated to financial aid from 45% to 35%. This change aims to free up more funds for the university's operational needs. 3. Introduce an additional annual step increase on top of the existing inflation-based increases. This would be tied to California's Consumer Price Index to ensure the university keeps pace with inflation. Brostrom argued that these changes would help achieve a sustainable budget plan for the university while providing stability to students, their families, and the campuses. ###the financial context. According to a 19-page report presented to the Regents, the university is facing significant financial pressures. Growing student enrollment and substantial increases in core operational costs have outpaced both state budget and tuition revenue. The university is also dealing with federal grant funding cuts totaling hundreds of millions of dollars and a system-wide hiring freeze announced in March. The report highlighted several key issues. Decreased instructional spending per student. Compared to 20 years ago, the university spends less per student on instruction. Worsening student-to-faculty ratio. This ratio has continued to deteriorate, affecting the quality of education. Lagging staff support. Support for students and faculty has not kept up with growing enrollment. Faculty salary gaps. Salaries for tenure-track faculty fall short of university goals. Deferred maintenance backlogs. Campuses are struggling with a backlog of maintenance projects. ###Regents reactions. The Regents' responses were mixed, with several expressing strong reservations about the proposed changes. Regent Michael Cohen praised the current tuition plan but was concerned about reducing the percentage of tuition revenue dedicated to financial aid. "I'm willing to take the side of affordability," he stated. Regent Mark Robinson favored renewing the stability plan but was hesitant about the 7% cap, which he felt could be too shocking. Regent Maria Anguiano echoed this sentiment, suggesting that 7% no longer felt modest. Regent and Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis agreed, recommending that the 7% cap be removed from consideration. However, Regent Jay Shores took a different stance, emphasizing the existential threats the university faces due to state and federal cuts. He pointed out that most UC students receive financial aid and noted that other selective public universities, like the University of Virginia, have significantly higher in-state tuition rates. ###student leaders' perspectives. Student government leaders were uniformly opposed to the proposed changes. During the public comment session, outgoing UC Student Association President Aditi Hariharan urged the Regents to cancel the tuition lock-in altogether. These forever tuition hikes continuously increase the tuition for future classes of students, she argued, adding that if the program continues, the caps and the share of tuition used for financial aid should remain unchanged due to concerns about unpredictable changes in financial aid policies. UC Santa Barbara student Lucia Hermoso criticized the current model for being unfair, as students in the same classrooms pay different prices. This model puts more financial burden on students, rather than addressing the deeper issue of underfunding in public higher education, she said. Brianna Trujillo, the Vice President for External Affairs in the UC Riverside student government, also spoke out, stating that the tuition hikes do not lead to better services, teaching, or facilities, only higher costs. ###financial impact on families. The report provided a breakdown of how the proposed changes would affect families at different income levels. If the plan is renewed with a 7% maximum yearly increase for new cohorts and a 35% return to financial aid, the projected total cost of attendance in the 2029-30 academic year would be $47,400 for California residents, including $16,600 in tuition and $30,800 in non-tuition costs. Interestingly, while the nominal tuition would be $1,300 higher if the plan is scrapped and costs remain flat at fall 2025 levels, the net cost for most students would actually decrease when financial aid is factored in. Only students from the highest income levels, such as families earning more than $180,000 annually, would see an increase in their net costs. Financial aid plays a crucial role in lowering out-of-pocket expenses for many students. At UCLA, for instance, 63% of undergraduates receive financial aid, and 71% graduate with no debt. Under UC-wide rules, California students from families earning less than $80,000 a year who qualify for financial aid pay no tuition. And this is the part most people miss. While the proposed changes might seem daunting, the actual impact on students' wallets, especially for those from lower-income backgrounds, could be minimal or even beneficial thanks to robust financial aid programs. What's next? The regents have a lot to consider before making their final decision in mid-November. The debate has only just begun, and the coming weeks will likely see more discussions, data analysis, and public input. One thing is clear. The future of UC's tuition policy will have far-reaching implications for students, families, and the university itself. What do you think? Should the regents raise tuition to address financial challenges? Or is there a better way to ensure the university's sustainability without burdening students? Share your thoughts in the comments below. UC Regents Tuition Hike Update. Bypassing approval for professional programs. Rising tuition costs, university finances in flux, and big questions about fairness. The University of California system just made a controversial change that could shape students' futures for years to come. Here's what you need to know and why people are talking about it. During its July bi-monthly meeting held at UCLA, the University of California Board of Regents tackled a series of crucial financial decisions that could reverberate across all UC campuses. Most notably, the regents approved a major shift. From now on, certain increases in tuition for professional programs can move forward without the approval of the full board. Instead, these changes will be authorized by the UC president alone. This might sound like a routine bureaucratic adjustment, but here's where it gets controversial. Some see it as a necessary step to adapt quickly to financial realities, while others worry it reduces accountability and could price students out of advanced degrees. Let's break down what happened and why it matters. Several committees convened to discuss the UC's finances, including the Finance and Capital Strategies Committee, the Academic and Student Affairs Committee, and the National Laboratories Committee. These meetings come at a time when the UC faces rising operational costs and delays in state funding. For the 2025-26 fiscal year, the state of California deferred $129.7 million in base funding to 2026-27 instead of making proposed budget cuts. In addition, $46.8 million in one-time funds was approved to fuel various university programs, such as a journalism fellowship at UC Berkeley and social media research at UCLA. These measures are meant to support important initiatives, but they're not a permanent fix. Nathan Brostrom, the UC's Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, acknowledged that while the funding deferral offers some relief, projections show the state may face a staggering $17 billion budget deficit next year. This clouds the financial future of the university, prompting Brostrom to stress caution and the importance of finding alternative revenue streams. Think about it. If state support remains shaky, where should the university turn next? Cain Diaz, Associate Vice President of Budget Analysis and Planning, emphasized the need for flexibility in university budgeting, highlighting that every campus operates according to its own set of needs and challenges. He pointed to the System-Wide Budget Management Workgroup, which focuses on hiring, reviewing non-academic programs, and boosting budget transparency. Their full report, expected later this summer, could offer insights into how the UC system adapts to ongoing financial unpredictability. But this is the part most people miss. Even though state officials backed away from immediate budget cuts, the mere threat forced the university to rethink how it manages tuition, particularly for high-demand, costly professional programs in fields like law, business, and medicine. Now, the Academic and Student Affairs Committee has approved a sweeping new policy. Going forward, instead of every proposed increase in professional degree supplemental tuition, PDST, requiring direct approval from the full Board of Regents, the UC president can approve increases, as long as they don't exceed 3% for California residents and 5% for out-of-state students annually. Only proposals for new supplemental fees or increases above those thresholds must still pass a full board vote. Catherine Newman, UC Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, explained this move is intended to make the review process more efficient, while still protecting the university's principles of excellence, accessibility, and affordability. Importantly, she assured that each proposal, regardless of who approves it, will undergo a rigorous and iterative review to prevent tuition hikes from undercutting these values. But not everyone is convinced. Regent Lark Park stood her ground, saying she couldn't support tuition increases for these programs at all. She challenged whether such changes would really serve the students the university claims to prioritize, raising poignant questions about transparency and inclusivity under the new policy. In contrast, Regent Jay Shore's voiced support, describing the new caps as modest and insisting there are still effective checks and balances in place. But would you agree that a 3 to 5% annual increase is reasonable? Or could it be the tip of the iceberg? In another key decision, the National Laboratories Committee allocated the $30 million that UC expects to receive next year for its management of the Los Alamos and Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories. This income will fund diverse operations from research fellowships to campus partnerships, ensuring continued oversight and innovation within these federal nuclear research labs. The full board gave this plan unanimous approval, a rare point of agreement amidst so many challenges. Regent Michael Cohen summed up the situation with cautious optimism, noting that while concerns remain about funding deferrals, the final state budget ended up being much better than some earlier proposals. So here's the big question. Do you think making it easier for UC leaders to raise graduate and professional program tuition is necessary for the university's financial survival, or does it risk making elite education even more exclusive? Should full board oversight be maintained to ensure transparency, or is streamlining the process worth it? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below. Is this bold move the right call, or should students and faculty push back?